Welcome back and welcome to another book talk. This book was one of those that as soon as I finished it, I was like, I have to make a video about that book because I enjoyed this book so much. I enjoyed it so much more than I was expecting to. You'll have seen this book around in a lot of people's videos, a lot of people's blog posts, lots of people are talking about it, and it is the new release from Jennifer E. Smith, Windfall. I have now read all but one of Jennifer E. Smith's books, and I knew I wanted to read this new one because I'd heard the premise behind it and I was really excited about what it was going to be like. I've had a bit of a mixed reaction with her previous novels. I really loved and have just recently read The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight. The Geography of You and Me I had slightly mixed feelings about, so I was really interested to see what I would make of this novel, and I really did love it. For a 400 plus page novel, I flew through it, didn't want to put it down, wanted to keep reading it. Let me tell you what it's about. I will read the blurb to you. See the cover there. Alice doesn't believe in luck, at least not the good kind, but she does believe in love, and for some time now she's been pining for her best friend Teddy. On his 18th birthday, just when it seems they might be on the brink of something, she buys him a lottery ticket on a lark. To their astonishment, he wins $140 million, and in an instant everything changes, as you imagine it would. At first, it seems like a dream come true, especially since the two of them are no strangers to misfortune. As a kid, Alice won the worst kind of lottery possible when her parents died just over a year apart from each other. And Teddy's father abandoned his family not long after that, leaving them to grapple with his gambling debts. Through it all, Teddy and Alice have leaned on each other, but now, as they negotiate the ripple effects of Teddy's newfound wealth, a gulf opens up between them, and soon the money starts to feel more like a curse than a windfall. So I love the fact that we've got this ticker tape on the cover here, and the gold as well, and then the end pages in this one are gold too, to kind of signify that money and that richness that he won. So first of all, I loved the characters in this one. We've got Alice and we've got Teddy, and then we've got Alice's cousin and their kind of other friend in the group, Leo, and Alice actually lives with Leo and his parents, and they are a little threesome, and I love the relationship that they had. Alice relies on each one of these two guy friends as for different things, and that kind of does change a little bit over the course of the book. I love the fact that all three characters were very different from each other as well. I think sometimes you get friendship groups and the friends are all pretty much the same and they're not kind of discernible from each other, but these three friends are all very different and they have different opinions on the world. Alice as a character obviously has gone through some really horrible things, but she's become a better person because of it. She does lots of volunteering and she has very strong moral values and won't be swayed when she thinks something is right or wrong to think the other way. She also has a strong connection with California, where she's from, even though this book is set in Chicago. I loved the kind of her adopted family, obviously Leo and his parents, and the fact that Teddy and his mum have become part of her family as well. It's really nice to see strong family relationships in a book, especially with people who live in a city and people who have had to move and be separated and have come back together again. It was really nice to read about. Teddy's an interesting character. He's a very outgoing character, and I could definitely recognise him among some of my friends when I was 18. He's very relatable and very real character. And Leo as well is a really interesting character, and they're kind of going through that stage where they're in their final year of high school and they're getting their college acceptance letters and they're deciding which ones to accept themselves and what their next move is going to be. So it's definitely a kind of coming of age, finding yourself novel. The fact that the money does change things in the friendship group and the people is really interesting, because I found moments where I was like, oh, you know, how are they going to react to this situation? How are they going to react to this situation? And how are the kind of people in the outer circle, not just the inner circle, going to react to this situation? And, you know, sometimes the reactions are quite predictable and sometimes they're really not. And so the storyline, that particular storyline, is really quite interesting. Obviously, that's the main sort of premise behind the book, this lottery win and what you would do with it. But then we've got this friendship and we've got this relationship and we've got these guys who are growing up, and these, you know, people who are kind of finding themselves and reassessing their friendship and reassessing their relationship. And I love the fact that the kind of relationship side of it, not just romantic relationships, but friendship relationships and family relationships, is the really big strong point in this book. Everything that happens to them feels very real and feels very relatable. It's not one of those books where you're kind of like, yeah, well, we've got some insta love here, or it wouldn't have happened that way. It does all feel like it definitely could have happened. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I thought it was very realistic. And I really, really loved seeing these relationships form and develop, and, you know, the romance aspect of it, as well as the friendship aspect of it, as well as the family aspect of it. And that for me really made this book. I found it such a page turner, so hard to put down, and I just really enjoyed it. It made me feel warm, it made me happy. It was just a really enjoyable read. And although it is a young adult book, because everything is so real and so relatable, I think that anybody of any age could read this and enjoy it. And there's nothing really in here that kind of much younger readers, sort of your younger teens, wouldn't enjoy or wouldn't kind of would take offence to. I think it's one of these books that really is for all ages, and I really enjoyed it. And so I really, really urge you to add this to your TBR, because it was a really good read. And if you look on my blog post for my June TBR, and I will also leave it for my review of this one, you will see the UK cover on there as well, because this is the US hardback cover, whereas the UK cover is a paperback cover and is a similar background colour, but has a different graphics on the front. So that is Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. I loved it. Let me know in the comments if you've read that, or if you've read other Jennifer E. Smith novels and had kind of similar relationship to them that I did. I will have another video for you soon. If you like this one, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to be notified when that new video pops up. I will see you then. Goodbye.